In this video, I'm going to show you how to modify files on your computer and then push them up to your Git repo so that everyone else in your group has them. First thing I'm going to do is whenever I sit down at my computer, I'm going to open up Fork or whatever other Git tool I use, and I'm going to do a pull and then click this pull button. That will make sure I'm working on the most recent version of the project. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to verify that the bolded version of, or the bolded commit here is the most recent one. So Dave's scene up here is bold. That means I'm working off the most recent version of the Unity project. So I'm good to go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start modifying things. So I'm going to go modify my terrain. Maybe I just want to modify and raise some things or lower some things or do whatever else I need to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and create some objects in the scene, I don't know, some random 3D cubes. I'm going to do the good Unity developer thing, and I should be naming these and making them like whatever I want them named and named appropriately. Maybe I'm also creating some prefabs as well. Creating a new cube prefab, hitting save. And so I've modified a bunch of things. I've modified my scene, I created a prefab, and I've also modified my terrain. When I'm done working, now I want to take these changes and push them up to the repo. The way I go about doing that is back here in Git Fork. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to local changes. This will list every file that I have changed. I added this cube prefab. I modified Dave's scene, and I modified Dave's terrain. These are all the changes I've made. So the next thing I want to do is I want to verify which files I've modified and mark or stage them, which means essentially marking them as files that are important that I want to send up to the server. So I want to make sure my cube prefab gets there, Dave's scene, and Dave's terrain. Now I'm just holding down Control and clicking on these to select files. You might also have files that you don't want to push to the server. So as an example, if I opened up someone else's level and I went in here and I had modified their level for some reason, and I didn't want those changes to be pushed up to the server, then I wouldn't select the mountain terrain, right? The mountain terrain is someone else's terrain. If I don't want those changes to go up to the server, I don't need to select them. So Dave's terrain, Dave's scene, cube prefab. I'm going to stage those things. With this mountain terrain, if I don't want those changes, notice how I changed it here. And this might be my group mate's scene or my group mate's work, or they might be working on it at the same time. I can actually just right click on this and hit discard. When I hit discard, it will get rid of the changes I've made. And watch this when I hop back to Unity. Watch this. There we go. So it'll get rid of those changes, right? When I hop back to Unity, just like that. All right, so I'm pushing my cube, my scene, and my terrain. I'm going to go ahead and say updated Dave's scene, and I'm going to hit commit. This editor user settings is something that like frequently changes. You can choose to commit this, or you can choose to discard it. It doesn't really matter all too much. All right, now that I've made that commit, you notice how here it lists origin main. That means that this is the most recent version that is on the server. I have a more updated version, right? So I've made a commit here. It's still on my computer. I haven't actually pushed it up to the server yet. The next thing I want to do is, now that I have no more local changes, is I want to go pull to make sure there's no other data that's coming from the server. There's nothing. No one else has worked on anything since I've done this. So the last thing I want to do is push. And push takes my most recent changes and sends that up to the server. Now I can see that what's on the server matches my current version. Remember, I can always verify that my files have made it up to the server by going to gitlab.com and going to repo under commits. And I can see updated Dave's scene has made it here to the server. And that's it. That's how you send changes that you've made to your files up to the server for the rest of your group to view.